John likes tech and lives in Indiana, you know. Kevin likes the Dodgers and talks on the radio. John plays games on Xbox and on his Nintendo, while Kevin runs around LA with his mustachio. It's the Lack of Genius podcast, in your ear holes at last. They don't know they're Mars from Venus, that's why it's the Lack of Genius podcast. Hey, John.
Hey, Kevin.
I apologize to you and any listeners in advance. I guess I'll share my exciting news that I have adopted a puppy. I was fostering her for a little bit, and now she's mine, and she's actually really great, even though I'm about to talk badly on her. Her and my previous dog, Coconut, they just play like wild little munchkins in the background, and so you may hear the occasional rah, 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 rah fighting. But she's so cute. Her name's Stella. She's a 4-month-old pit lab mix. She's all black with these little white marks on her chest. She's so cute. She's so good for Coconut. She's so good for me. So that's very exciting.
Good. And in a few months, we'll get a story on how she got her groove back.
Yes, exactly. Good old Stella getting her groove back. But that has nothing to do, and well, wait, by the way, sorry, I don't know, I'm very delayed on this, but yeah. Very good. That has nothing to do with this week's episode. We're staying with current things going on right now. There's a Super Bowl game happening in a few days from the release of this episode, so I'm going to be quizzing you, John, on Super Bowl stuff, and then and what are you doing for me?
Valentine's Day, which is the day after. Well,
that's cool. Did you have fun making a quiz? Did you learn some cool stuff?
Yeah, I did. I won't say too much without spoiling questions. So
got it. I will say a lot to spoil as many questions as possible. No, I won't. I will say that I was excited to make the Super Bowl quiz only because the team that I root for year round is going to be in the Super Bowl, the Los Angeles Rams. If you're on the live stream, I have my Rams hat on that actually, they have little ram horns on the side. It's my favorite Rams hat. I never had a football team growing up because for 20 years of my youth and young adulthood, there was no football team in Los Angeles, and I never attached to another team. And then when the Rams moved back in, I think 2014 or 15, something like that, I jumped on hardcore. I was like, we have a team. It's the Rams. And I've been really excited ever since. And they actually made a Super Bowl like 3 years ago, and they lost to Tom Brady, who I hate.
Who thankfully retired.
And I'm pretty sure there's absolutely no way he can win another Super Bowl at that rate. So
no,
that feels good. So I'm a little extra enthused. Look, I definitely would say I'm a much bigger Dodger fan, obviously, than the Rams, but Rams are my number two. Dodgers, Rams, and ooh. Like, I won't be depressed for months if they lose a Super Bowl like I do for the Dodgers when the Dodgers get eliminated. But I'll be sad, and I will be very happy if they win. I would love to see a Super Bowl and happen in LA at SoFi, which is where the Super Bowl is taking place. So,
did you try to get tickets at all?
I did not. If you go look at ticket prices right now, it's not happening for Kevin. It's not happening for anyone who makes a decent living, because decent living isn't enough to get you to the Super Bowl.
Right.
Yeah.
So all those people out there that aren't Patreon members, become one, so that way Kevin can go to the Super Bowl.
Send Kevin to the Super Bowl. Let's do it. Tidy up before we go any further with the show. Tidy up before we go. Fix our mistakes tonight. I wanna get it right. Tidy up. I have been doing a lot of literal tidy ups because I have a new puppy. Currently, my floor is covered with the matting that comes from their pillow that they've chewed up, and I've been cleaning up a lot of little potty messes. I'll tell you right now, she's pretty good at potty training. But yeah, there's my tidy up for the week, is all the dog urine that's on my floor.
Fun.
Yeah.
I know we were talking last week, and we called out Grayson, and I don't know if he got to you or not.
I haven't seen him since.
Okay. So we hit 2,000 listeners.
Yeah.
2,000 listens. So.
All right. That was our big goal, right?
Well, that was our second big goal. I'm not sure what number we should go for next.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's 1,000 more that we aim for, or if it's doubling it to 4,000. But maybe it's just we just keep making content that people want to listen to, hopefully, and enjoy.
Yeah, I think that's what we keep doing.
All right. Well, I feel relatively tidied up. How you feel?
I feel good too.
All right. Well, let's hop into quiz time then. It's time to take a quiz or two. Like a genius podcast doing this for you. You may fail, but it ain't no lie, baby, it's quiz time. Don't really want this quiz to be tough. I just want to pass one cause I failed enough. It might sound crazy, but it ain't no lie, baby, it's quiz time. I think just to keep up with the theme of talking about my dogs out of each song, my little puppy now is chewing up my dresser, which was Coconut's bad habit because Coconut has taught the little puppy Stella to chew up a cabinet. And so now I have two dogs who are double the problem, it would appear.
So if anyone out there is a dog trainer and has suggestions for Kevin,
yes,
let us know.
Yes, because podcast time becomes a little bit of a difficult time. The dogs do not like me not paying attention to them, and they go and they find their own thing to do. But yeah, we got quiz time to deal with, right? So that's what the important thing is. And you're doing Valentine's Day because that's coming up, and everyone loves Valentine's Day. And I'm doing the Super Bowl, and I'm going to ask you the first question.
Sounds good.
All right, so I already mentioned this, in fact. In 2019, the New England Patriots won Super Bowl 53. This was against the Rams, so I hate mentioning this. But it gave them their sixth Super Bowl title, tying them for the most Super Bowl wins all time. Which team did they tie? Is it A, the Green Bay Packers, B, the Pittsburgh Steelers, C, the San Francisco 49ers, or D, the Miami Dolphins?
I feel like it's either the Packers or 49ers because they both had long stretches of being like the best team. I mean, you had Joe Montana with the 49ers for quite a long time. And you had Lombardi at the Packers, which is the Lombardi Trophy.
Yeah, named after him.
And my hatred for the Steelers is almost as much as for Tom Brady. But I'm just going to say the Packers.
Picking the Packers.
Yep.
John, that is incorrect. It's the one you hate. It's the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I figured.
Much like, Joe Montana went on a bunch of runs, and so did Terry Bradshaw. Terry Bradshaw went on I think it was 4 years in a row with the Steelers winning. It's funny because, Tom Brady also has the record for the most wins in a Super Bowl by an individual. He has 7. He got 6 with the Patriots and 1 with the Bucks. And I was looking at the list of all the other individuals, and there's a chunk of guys basically from the Pittsburgh Steelers who were on that same team for 4 years, and they all got 4 rings. You weren't wrong about the 49ers. In fact, here are the top 5 teams. So the Steelers and the Patriots each have 6. The Dallas Cowboys and the 49ers each have 5. Packers and the New York Giants each have 4. So you were in the neighborhood for sure. One thing I meant to say, I don't think it would have affected your ability on this question, but the Super Bowl has existed since 1966. And prior to that, it was called the NFL Championship Game because there were 2 leagues. It was the NFL and the AFL. They were like completely different organizations from what I understand. And the top team from each league would play each other for the NFL Championship. Then those 2 merged, and we got the NFL and we got the Super Bowl. The numbers I just gave you are all just Super Bowl wins from 1966 on. If you're looking all time, though, from like 1933, from way back, it is the Packers. They have 13 wins. The Bears have 9. The Giants have 8. Then the Patriots and the Steelers with 6. But again, that does not include actual Super Bowl wins. That just includes NFL championships.
And the Colts have 2.
Is that right? I'm sure you're probably right. Yeah, but
1 in Indy and then 1 in Baltimore.
Yes, yeah. It's a shame Peyton Manning only got 1 with Indy. I know he went twice, but yeah. Hey, you got must have been exciting when they won in what was that? 06?
Oh yeah, 7.
07. Yeah. Oh yeah, the 06 season, and then they won in 07, February 07. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we would have gone a lot more if the Patriots didn't cheat so much, but
yeah, the deflating balls. I did not include any deflating ball questions. We all know what Tom Brady did.
Yeah, I will argue that he is not the greatest of all time, like everyone says.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, I don't blame you. The dude is obviously very talented, regardless. But it didn't help his legacy that he had to find ways around playing the game fairly.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you missed that first one, 0 for 1. So we're jumping into Valentine's Day.
So kind of like Christmas and a lot of Halloween and stuff. This is actually a feast. It's a Catholic holiday, or that's how it started off as.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
So, yep. So when was the feast of St. Valentine created?
Wow.
496, 1496, 1922, or 735?
I'd imagine it was before 1922. When I hear Saint Valentine, that's a very old-timey thing. I mean, and that's like older than old-timey. Like I see 1496 and I'm like, I think it was even before that. That's the Columbus days, 1492. I think I'm going to choose 496. Only because 496 and 1496 are both on there. I'm like, okay, maybe it's one of those. So I'm going to say the early one. I'm going to say 496. Woo!
Correct.
All right.
Yep, it was created as a feast by Pope. How do you say this? And of course, they don't have a pronunciation on Wikipedia for the Pope's name.
All right, let's hear you try it.
Gelasius the First.
Is it with a G or a J?
A G.
Oh, Gelasius.
Yeah, he created it in 496 to honor St. Valentine. He did it for St. Valentine of Rome. But then there's also a St. Valentine of Terni, which is another part of Italy. And so the Eastern Orthodox churches tend to celebrate that St. Valentine of Terni, not of Rome. And so they actually do that on different days than February 14th.
I have to admit, I don't think I really even know what a saint is. Like, is a saint a real person, or is this like a not mythical, but like a religious figure, an angel or of some sort?
It's both. Not being Catholic, this is just from my understanding of reading and stuff. You have a real person, and then they die, whether, they were, martyrs really aren't a thing as much nowadays as they used to be, but like, martyrdoms or, just died of old age. And then people might associate like a miracle happening in that person's name. And I think, from my understanding, if there's enough of those that happen, then the Catholic Church will make that person a saint.
Got it. Okay, well, I got that one right. I'm 1 for 1. You're 0 for 1. Let's do number 2 on the Super Bowl. You brought this up in the pre-show, sort of. What is the average cost for a ticket to this year's Super Bowl? John, that was in the actual show, asked me if I was going to the show. I am not, because of this question. What is the average cost for a ticket to this year's Super Bowl? Is it $5,300, $8,870, $9,086, or $906,795?
Well, I was about to just go with the 9,086, but then I remember you said average.
Yes.
Which I'm assuming there are some multi-million-dollar tickets.
I will say, and I don't know if this changes your answer at all, these stats I got from yesterday from a site called Ticket IQ, and I believe this was what's left of tickets for the Super Bowl game. So what's still available and what's being sold secondhand, Then
I'll just go with the 9,086.
9,086 is your choice? You got it, John. Well done. Actually, each one of these numbers is significant. So right now, the average cost of Super Bowl tickets that are remaining, and we're about 7 days out right now as we're recording this. And 9,086 is the average. 5,300 right now is the lowest price for a ticket available, and that's way up in the nosebleeds.
But is it worth $5,300 to go see Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre?
I know that actually would be so cool. That's why the ticket. Obviously, it's a Super Bowl, but you're also seeing some of the biggest names in the world of music performing at one of the greatest venues in the world right now, one of the newest anyways, most state-of-the-art venues. So $5,300 would get you in the door. $8,870 is the cheapest lower level ticket, so it's still considered like a good seat. $8,870 is the cheapest. And then right now, the most expensive available ticket is $906,795. So just under $1 million. So that's kind of why I said that, because I'm sure tickets went for millions of dollars. That 900,000 one would be a single person in a 24-person suite. So in one of their suites, which you can imagine, that's a 24-person suite, and that's the cost of one ticket, $900,000. So do all 24 of those people pay $900,000?
Or it might just be it's $1 million for that entire suite.
It might be, but it does say a single ticket for that 24-person suite, so I'm not entirely sure. All that said, though, first Super Bowl ever, 1967, the average cost of a ticket was $12, which if you adjust that for inflation is $90. So even that is like unbelievable.
Right.
I will admit, and maybe I said this on the podcast already, I can't remember, but I had a brief moment when the Rams made the Super Bowl of like, okay, listen, not only is the Super Bowl being in LA at SoFi very rare, but for the Rams to be in it, this literally may be a once in a lifetime opportunity for me. So it crossed my mind, but I do not have $9,000, let alone $5,000 of expendable cash to go and watch a game and watch Snoop Dogg do his thing. I just don't.
You could drop it like it's hot.
I do plan to drop it like it's hot while I'm watching from home, though. Yeah. All right. Well, good job. You did get that one right. You're 1 for 2, and I'm going to try to go 2 for 2 on Valentine's Day.
And I got a true or false for you.
Yes.
The celebration of Saint Valentine is not known to have had any romantic connotations until the 14th century. Oh. True or false?
True or false. By the way, I think it's funny that when you say you have a true or false, I celebrate it now because it's 50-50, whereas early on I was like, no, these are so torturous. And I already feel that right now. It's like I was excited for the 50-50 chance, but now again, it's like, okay, let me read it again. The celebration of Saint Valentine is not known to have had any romantic connotations until the 14th century. And again, I mean, you usually don't get tricky like this, but it wouldn't even be that tricky. It could be like, it didn't have connotations until the 17th century or until the 18th or the 12th. Oh God, I really want to choose true, but I'm going to choose false. I'm going to say there's something off about that sentence. So I'm going to choose false. Dang it. It was true.
Yep, it's true.
Okay.
And it wasn't until 1382 when a guy by the name of Geoffrey Chaucer, which everyone seems to have heard of Chaucer, but no one reads Chaucer really, unless you're an English major or something like that. But he had a piece of writing called The Parliament of Fowls, as in fowls the bird, Fowls. And that's kind of the first association of St. Valentine's Day and romance. The verse itself was honoring the first anniversary of the engagement of King Richard II to Anne of Bohemia. It wasn't romantic until the late 1300s. Yeah.
Who, when Queen Anne of Bohemia and King Richard the whatever got engaged, they had no idea that hundreds of years from then, their love would spark a marketing occasion every year, and cards and little hearts that have words on them. They sparked a revolution in that sense.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I missed it, which is good news for you because we're tied up 1 for 2. Let's hop into number 3 on the Super Bowl. So this is based on television ratings only. So no streaming or YouTube included in this. According to those television ratings, what is the most watched Super Bowl halftime show ever? Is it Lady Gaga in 2017, Shakira and Jennifer Lopez in 2020, Katy Perry in 2015, or Beyonce in 2013?
When you say no streaming, I pay for CBS to be able to stream CBS Live and stuff. Is that not including that, or is that considered TV?
Yeah, no, I think it's not including those services.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then I think I'm going to go with Beyonce.
2013 Beyonce?
Yeah. I feel like she was kind of at her peak then.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that she's still not up there now.
I know. It's like she's almost always at a peak. It seems.
Right. But that was also before a lot of people have switched to streaming as well.
Yeah, that's true. 2013.
So I think I'm going to go Beyonce.
All right, John, locking it in.
Mm-hmm.
Beyonce 2013 is incorrect. Sorry. That 100% would have been what I would have chosen. Surprisingly, it was Katy Perry in 2015. Television ratings only. Katy Perry's halftime show was the most ever watched halftime show, 118.5 million viewers. The most ever watched show on YouTube would be Shakira and Jennifer Lopez. So because they aired that on YouTube, they didn't get nearly as much television rating. But according to at least one source, Ticket Source, they say that with all the numbers combined, that the Shakira and the J-Lo one is the world's most watched halftime show ever. I'll be honest, I totally forgot that they performed last year.
That was 2 years ago.
2 years ago. Last year was The Weeknd, which I forgot about his performance too. It's so quick. It's amazing how quickly we forget.
Do you remember though, back when you were a kid, when it was like an actual like thematic show? Like it wasn't just a musical guest? Like I remember there being one that was like an Indiana Jones like
thing.
Yeah,
that sounds very familiar. But yeah, that's the interesting about Super Bowl halftime shows is it's gone through, it used to literally just be a marching band for many years. And then I think Michael Jackson was the first, Gloria Estefan, maybe one of them. They started bringing in big names, and then it got bigger and bigger. And then of course, in 2004, there was the Janet Jackson, Justin Timberlake incident. And then they had years of just classic rock bands that played, and it was kind of dull. And now thankfully we're back to being relevant. So.
And it was in 1995 when it had the Indiana Jones show.
Yeah, and maybe that might have been Super Bowl 29, but I do have a vague memory of that. All right, John, you missed that one. 1 for 3 for John. Yep. I'm 1 for 2. Let's see what happens on number 3 of Valentine's Day.
In what year is the first English Valentines recorded? 1777, 1677, 1577, or 1477?
Oh, I'm seeing a theme here. 1777, 1677, 1577, 1477. English Valentines. Well, let's see. Let's do some math. Late 1300s was the first religious one. I guess that's all the math I need to do. Did it take less than 100 years to get to England in 1477? I'm gonna say 1477 since it's the only one I've said out loud, and just see what happens. So I'm locking in 1477. All right.
Correct. Now I think you're missing something. Chaucer was in England, so that whole thing was already in England before this.
So. But I don't get it then. What makes it the first
like a Valentine's, like you gave someone a Valentine's, like a Valentine's card.
Oh,
right?
I assumed you meant like the day.
No.
Oh, that's funny. Okay, all right. Oh, tell me about it.
The one written in 1477 was written by a woman by the name of Marjorie Brews to her future husband John Paston. I mean, and the whole roses are red, violets are blue thing. That stems from way back when, then got added, I think, to books that guys could buy to then write their own Valentines, little snippets of things the guys could write into Valentines for women. So
like they would literally buy this book as a way to find like, okay, well, I like this poem, so I'm going to write it.
Yeah.
That would be funny to find that book today and then go on and then slide those into people's DMs. Just write one of these poems and send it in an Instagram direct message. That's the way we do it these days. All right. Well, I'm glad I got that one. So I'm 2 for 3. You're 1 for 3. You got to catch up, John. Here we go. Number 4 on the Super Bowl. Since the Super Bowl's existence in 1966, again, this is the Super Bowl. This does not include the NFL championships prior to that. So since the Super Bowl's existence in 1966, which of the following teams has been to a Super Bowl? So there's 4 teams here. 3 have never been to a Super Bowl. 1 has. Which one has? Is it the Cleveland Browns, the Minnesota Vikings, the Detroit Lions, or the Detroit Mechanics?
Did you only put that up there because there's only been 2 teams that haven't gone to the Super Bowl?
Well, I put it up there because I wanted to get the Detroit Mechanics in on a question. If you haven't listened to our Frisbee episode, by the way, they are an ultimate Frisbee team who is never good, and we're rooting for them.
I believe it's the Vikings that have been to the Super Bowl.
You believe the Vikings have been to a Super Bowl. Is that what you're going to lock in?
Mm-hmm.
All right, that is correct. Well done. Yes, the Vikings, in fact, have been to 4 Super Bowls. They are tied with the Buffalo Bills for the worst record in Super Bowls. Both those teams are 0 for 4 in their Super Bowl appearances. And the Buffalo Bills, so sad, they lost 4 in a row, 1990 to 1993, with Jim Kelly as their quarterback. There's actually a really good documentary series on it's on Disney Plus right now about that I was watching. It's super good. There are more than 2 teams who haven't been to a Super Bowl though, but the Cleveland Browns have never been. The Detroit Lions have never been. The Jacksonville Jaguars, who, they've only existed for 25, 30 years. They've never been.
Right.
And then the Houston Texans, who, what I wasn't sure of is whether they included the Houston Oilers in that, because I think it's a whole new franchise, because I think the Houston Oilers are now the Tennessee Titans. And so,
I think you're right.
Yeah, and so that's what it is. Yeah, and so the Houston Texans are a franchise expansion, an expansion franchise. So yeah, those 4 teams: Browns, Jaguars, Lions, Texans. Never been to a Super Bowl. And then I was actually surprised. There's 8 teams, I think. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 teams. Oh my gosh, 12 teams who have never won a Super Bowl. So there are definitely a lot of droughts. The Cincinnati Bengals are one of them. And they're in this Super Bowl, but we're obviously not rooting for them because we're all Rams fans here. You have a comment, John?
Yeah, I was going to root for the Bengals mainly because, one, it's a Midwest team.
Yeah.
Root for the Midwest team, but also half my family is from Ohio, so.
Okay, fine. I hate you, John. You know what? It's funny because I think I can say pretty positively, if they were playing any other team but the Rams, I'd be rooting for the Bengals because they have a drought. They haven't been good my entire life. I definitely do not count them out. I am going into this game not confident. I would say there's a certain amount of confidence, but not arrogant, not like, oh, the Rams are going to whoop them and it's going to be over like that. The Bengals have just, they keep winning. They keep proving everyone wrong. So I'm not expecting anything. I'm expecting a good game and hoping that the Rams pull it off.
They've sucked so bad for so long that they've gotten the first round draft picks for a long time now.
Yep.
So maybe they eventually finally drafted a good team.
Yeah, they do, and they have a lot of talent. So it'll be fun to watch. I'm excited. I am very excited for the game. I'm very excited for the halftime show. Look, a lot of people watch this game. I take part in it. I like taking part and being part of a greater community of the world that we can all just sit down and watch football for one day. Yeah. Well, good job, John. You have now gone 2 for 4, right?
Yeah.
And I am 2 for 3 going into number 4. Let's see what happens. Valentine's Day.
So, which chocolate company was the first to make a fancy decorated box of chocolates for Valentine's?
Oh,
Hershey, Mars, Cadbury, or Godiva?
Wow. I mean, so like Hershey is the big name in chocolate. In especially in like mass producing. Godiva is a very classy brand. Mars, they make so much stuff. Cadbury, man, there's a little bit of a dark horse in Cadbury. I mean, Cadbury is such an old, I think of it as such an old, I think of the Cadbury eggs, obviously, but I bet you Cadbury's got some history. Because my initial gut reaction was going to be just choose Hershey. It's the biggest name. It's your odds are probably higher. But man, I'm gonna choose that wild card. I'm gonna choose Cadbury. I'm gonna see what happens. Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was Cadbury, from my understanding of how things read. In 1868, Cadbury created what they called fancy boxes or a decorated box of chocolates in the shape of a heart.
Nice.
And Cadbury's an English company as well. England took St. Valentine's Day and really ran with it. And I don't know why, but they created a lot of the Valentines and the cards and everything like that. Like they actually would mass produce Valentine cards back in the 1800s with lace and everything. And
so then that makes sense because then I don't know if it's as early as like the first settlers to come to America. It just sounds like we have the British invasion of crazy Valentine's Day celebrating to thank for how much we've blown it out of. I mean, I sound like I'm being cynical. We've blown every holiday out of proportion. I'm not picking on Valentine's Day. It's just hilarious. I mean, it's just, and I love holidays. Like I even Valentine's Day, I remember loving like cutting out little hearts. And even when you mentioned kind of the lacy things on the side, I remember doing that and having like that white frilly paper and putting that on. I was bad at arts and crafts, but I loved making them. I always made my mom a Valentine's Day when I was a little kid and a Valentine's Day card. I love that kind of stuff. Okay, well, let's see. So what just happened? I got that one right. So I'm 3 for 4. You're 2 for 4. So you got to get this last question right. I think this is the exact same scenario as last week. Yeah. You got to get this right to at least have a tie. So the last one on the Super Bowl. How many Super Bowl ads created by Peta have been banned from airing during the Super Bowl? 2, 4, 6, or 8? Banned PETA ads. Not allowed to air during the Super Bowl.
I want to say it's either 6 or 8. Because I know they like try to do it like every few years to just get the publicity. So I'm going to go with 8.
You're choosing 8, John.
Yep.
Locking it in?
Yep.
Nice job. Yep. And you hit it on the head, man. What's interesting is I believe these numbers are what PETA puts out. Like, I don't know if this is literally they pay the money and they ask the broadcast company to air it and then they're denied, or if they just claim that they were banned. I really have no idea, but there are 8 different ones throughout the years. I won't go into describing all of them. A lot of them are very like sexual based. You know, they use that to sell. But some of the more famous ones from recent years, in 2020, they did an ad called Anti-Speciesism. And it was all animated, but it was animals in the forest while the national anthem was playing, and all the animals were kneeling. So it was obviously a take on Colin Kaepernick kneeling, but it got a lot of criticism. I mean, understandably, because just an athlete kneeling gets a lot of criticism, which I don't fully agree with. But in this case, this was in 2020 when the Black Lives Matter movement was really happening, and a lot of people were saying they were kind of trying to capitalize on that and basically comparing speciesism to racism. And I understand that saving animals is very important, but at the end of the day, it's maybe taking advantage of something they shouldn't have taken advantage of. My favorite one that I get why it was banned, but it was definitely the funniest one. I'd never seen it before. It's called Milk Gone Wild. This might be an earmuff situation for 20 seconds, by the way. But it was basically shot kind of like a Girls Gone Wild video where there's a guy with a camera pointed on some college girls, and the guy is like saying, "Hey, yeah, will you show us? Will you show us?" And they're like, "No, no." And then finally someone says, "Okay." And then she starts lifting up her shirt, and it's literally milk udders or cow udders underneath there. It's like, it's pretty gross. It's like it's straight up. And so then there's just cuts of all these girls lifting their shirts, and it's cow's udders, and then milk starts coming out of them. And I was cracking up, but clearly that one, was banned. So there you go. Nice job, John. You got that one right. There are 8 banned PETA commercials. Oh, and just in general, this year is the most expensive that Super Bowl commercials have been. One 30-second ad, it is reported, went for $7 million. So $7 million was the high end, which is more than 9 times what a spot cost during the regular NFL season. And again, $7 million for a 30-second spot. This year in 1967, $37,000 for a 30-second spot. So there you go. You can see the craziness of the world now.
And from my understanding, Apple was kind of the first one to do this big production commercials back in 1984.
Yep.
With
Macintosh.
For the Mac. And it was kind of a play on the book 1984. And Ridley Scott, I think, directed it.
Good job, man. You know what? I'm going to count that as
John Knowledge Bomb.
Because you just did that without, you didn't even search anything right now, did you? You just knew that.
No, it's just part of the Apple trivia that I know.
I can 100% verify all that information you just said because that was part of my research. It's really considered one of the greatest Super Bowl ads of all time, one of the most significant. And you know, it's funny because you watch it and it's underwhelming, for lack of a better word, but only because we're watching it through a 2022 lens. This was 1984. Its production quality is so high. And I think it even says something like, you know, at the end it says like, get a Macintosh so 1984 won't be like 1984 or something like that. It was super clever. All right, dude. Well, you just went 3 for 5. I'm 3 for 4. So let's see if we tie again or if I get the win.
According to the U.S. Greeting Card Association, approximately how many Valentines are sent each year in the U.S.?
Wow.
50 million, 90 million, 190 million, or 250 million.
So these are like essentially cards that are, I mean, it says sent, but is it safe to assume probably just like bought and given to someone? It means sent, like not necessarily mailed?
My understanding is sent in the mail.
Okay, all right. So I was making sure that word sent was deliberate. Okay, good to know. I mean, and I would, wow, okay.
Or given to someone.
Okay, or given. So it could be like if you bought a card for Emily, that would count as well, and you gave it to her in person, that would count. Okay, that's sort of what I was trying to figure out. I mean, yeah, I'd imagine it's a big number. 50, so these are all million. 50, 90, 190, or 250 million. You know me, I typically like choosing either the low end or the high end. I would want to choose the high end on this one, but I'm just gonna go one down from the highest. I'm gonna choose 190 million. I'm locking it in. Oh, I got it.
Yep.
Wow.
190 million. And if you include, okay, so it's 190 million. Half of those are given the family members that are not husbands or wives, so usually children. And if you include...
yes.
If you include the school activities and everything, that number goes up to about $1 billion. And then teachers become the people receiving the most Valentines.
Oh, that is so cute. Teachers are the well, my sister listens to this podcast, so I guess I don't need to tell her that. But I was like, I got to tell my sister that. She's in the group of people who get the most Valentine. And I will say, I don't think well, I do have a vague memory of her having like candy from last Valentine's Day because she teaches, oh man, I'm sorry, Erica. She teaches 4th grade right now. She's jumped around so many grades. I know she's somewhere in the 3rd to 5th range. But she always gets such sweet gifts. That's such a great age to teach because you get the most presents. The kids are so sweet and the parents are so thoughtful. And so I can't wait to see what my sister brings home for Valentine's Day. That's a fun fact. I like that one. All right. Well, I ended up pulling out the victory on that one. Just narrowly edged you out. And I believe that means that the Rams are going to win the Super Bowl since I was representing the Rams and you were representing the Bengals. So go Rams, go.
Oh, is that how that went?
Yeah, that's exactly. This is exactly what this is. This was determining the winner. Well, I hope you have fun watching. All jokes aside, I hope it's a great game. I do hope the Rams win, but I will be sad, but also moderately happy for the Bengals franchise if the Bengals pull it off. And
with Tom Brady not playing in it this year, then it's probably a good chance that there's no cheating happening.
Let's face it, with Tom Brady not playing, everybody wins. The nation can breathe easy. All right, John. Well, we don't always plug next week's episode, but very excited because the Winter Olympics are happening right now, and much like we did for the Summer Olympics, we're going to be doing our favorite Winter Olympic sports. Yeah, look forward to talking to you about stuff that happens on ice and in the snow. All right, John, catch you next week.
See ya.
Bye. It's the Lack of Genius podcast in your ear holes at last. They don't know they're Mars from Venus, that's why it's the Lack of Genius podcast.
Well, you could drop it like it's hot.